Hey guys and girls, my name is Alan and today I'll be talking about some of my first impressions of the Plants vs Zombies 2 Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2 open beta. Now, I know this video timing is a little bit silly because the beta was last month and the game I think releases this month. I think it's coming out pretty soon, if not already out by the time this video goes up, so I understand it's a bit weird timing wise, but I feel that the thoughts are probably still going to be valid. I mean, I don't know how much they're going to change from the beta to the actual final game. And I imagine a lot of things, well, the things that I intend to talk about will probably stay the same. So, again, I think the thoughts are going to be pretty valid. But either way, I like, those who know me will know that I do like to share my thoughts on things. So even if it's like a long time ago, if I haven't talked about it yet, I will still talk about it if I feel like it's worth talking about. And I think that this game is something worth talking about because I've never talked about it before. So I didn't play the first one, Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare, the original one. I didn't play that. I am, however, a massive fan of the Plants vs Zombies franchise. It was always my intention to eventually get Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare just to play it out, just because obviously, like I said, I'm a fan of the series, so I wanted to see the game for myself. But my backlog is crazy as it is, so I never really got around to buying the game. But I mean, having played this beta now, I don't feel like I'm missing out on too much. First off, let's just get straight down to it. To me, it's quite a casual game. It's not very serious. I mean, I know the setting is meant to be fun and everything, but at the heart of it, it is a third-person shooter. So I expect some sort of, I don't even want to say competitiveness, but I feel like it should be a bit more competitive than what it is. Either that, or maybe I'm just not the target market. Maybe they're not aiming it at people like me. Maybe they're aiming it at kids or people who don't play Call of Duty, people who don't play Battlefield, that sort of thing. So maybe maybe I'm just not the person that the game's aiming for, which is fine. I get that not all shooters are made for serious competitiveness and everything, but I just feel for me it could have that level of gameplay, and so I don't know, maybe, like I said, maybe it's just not designed for me. So anyway, so my first impressions of it, yeah, pretty casual, and I find that because, I don't know if it's because it's casual, because maybe there are things which I think make it casual which kind of don't sit well with me. So first off, there's just so much crap going on the screen at any given time. There's no mini-map in the corner, which is, you get that with most shooting games. There's no map in general. So, if you're coming into this brand new like I did, well, I mean, anytime you play a map for the first time, you won't know what the hell is going on. So you'll have to just follow people around and just hope for the best. And then this leads me on to the next thing, is that objectives aren't always marked really clearly. I mean, on the center of the screen there it does say defend, but you don't get like a proximity. You could be on the opposite side of the map and it'll still say defend on that tiny little triangle. It doesn't actually change size depending on how far away you are. There's no distance. There's, like I said, there's just like it's really hard to judge things. Like even the enemies and friendlies which are on the screen, they're represented by those little icons, those little stickers, whatever. But the point is, it doesn't matter how far away you are from that person, it's still going to be the same size. So again, it doesn't really help in terms of trying to judge how far away you are from an enemy or from a friendly or whatever, or from the objective. So that's kind of annoying, especially when you're playing an objective-based game mode. There wasn't actually any TDM or anything that I experienced. It was all like, there was like, I think it was some sort of rush mode or something from Battlefield, a similar thing to Battlefield, I don't know. And again, like, there's not a lot of indication in terms of objectives, how to complete them, how to defend places and stuff like that. There's not a lot of instructions. I don't know if it's just because of the beta, or maybe they'll explain it a bit more in the final game, but as betas go, I think they probably could have done a bit more. So I mean, moving on to the shooting mechanics, every plant and every zombie has their own unique style of attack. and weapon, and that's great. So there is a lot of variety, and each plant or zombie has 3 powers respectively. Well, 3 powers. So again, the amount of things you can do to attack and to take out other enemy players is quite a lot. So there's a lot to master and there's a lot to use. But just because there's a lot doesn't mean it's all good. Now again, for me, I didn't find that all the powers and all the characters were great. But again, maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just my playstyle. Some of the characters I thought were pretty weak, and some of the attacks I felt were very situational. There's a character, the Chomper, and then there's Super Brains, and they're very CQC orientated. Their primary attacks are melee and well, chomping, biting for the plant. And to use those attacks, obviously you have to be within close range. But I mean, you know, when a plant or a zombie has to get in close range, obviously you expose yourself to attacks from the enemy team, and that's risky. Whereas you've got plants who have long range weapons, like I mentioned earlier, the pirate or the cactus. They have, did I mention them earlier? I don't think I did. But anyway, the pirate and the cactus, they have semi-automatic rifles which work really great at medium to long range. So obviously they're going to have some sort of advantage, right? And another thing that I don't really understand is that plants and zombies all have different health depending on which character you play. So the little imp character, the smallest zombie, only has about 50 health, but his attacks are quite good. So, I mean, one could argue that they balance it that way, in that, yeah, so he's got a little bit of health, but he's got really decent attacks. But then you've got like some really strong plants and zombies, such as the orange, for example. He's got a lot of health, like 200, but his attacks are quite weak. And so that's another thing that's a bit jarring, because when you play like a shooter like Call of Duty or Battlefield, everyone has the same health. Everyone has sort of the same access to the same sort of weapons. So, I mean, no one's ever going to be doing too much more damage than you're going to be doing to them, unless, you know, using different categories of weapons like snipers and LMGs and so on and so forth. But that's fine, that applies the same here. People have different weapons, so they have different attacks. Obviously that's different you know, types of damage. But health wise, that's a bit weird. I don't understand why characters would have different health, because that's sort of, I don't know, like, I mean, the hit detection in this game is not great as it is. And another thing to talk about hit detection is that when you do hit enemies, there's no indication that you're actually hitting them. You see that the enemy is taking damage because of the points that are coming off them. So that denotes the health being deducted. But you don't get like a hit marker detection box. There's no audio to say that to show that you've hit them. And when you and a teammate are both shooting the same target, if that enemy goes down but you didn't kill them, or even if you did kill them, there's no indication that you've done it. Actually, no, tell a lie. If you killed them, you hear like a little ding sound, which means that you've taken out an enemy player. But if a friendly takes them out, you don't hear anything, and you don't even know, because you don't get told that you've assisted in that kill. You have to literally check the feed to see if that player went down. But that's a really bad way of doing it. Like, you can keep shooting and not realise that that enemy's already gone down. And you know, okay, so obviously if you're engaged in a 2v1, that's not a big deal because it's just one enemy player to worry about. What happens if you're engaged in like a mini skirmish and it's like 3v3 or something like that? If you're wasting time shooting a dead corpse, you know, that's not great. And I've done that a few times because I don't know that the player's already gone down. And because there's so much clutter on the screen, as I mentioned earlier, so much crap going on, and so many different little icons flashing at you, whatever, you don't always notice that an enemy player has gone down, or you don't always notice something else happening. Like, sometimes an objective has changed, like it's moved on to the next checkpoint, and I'm still there because I don't know that we've taken it or we've lost it. Crazy Dave or the Zomboss guy, he sometimes pops on the screen and it's a little bit of text, but it's not really something you pay attention to, because again, it's more crap on the screen that is, you know, stuff is already going on, so it's unlikely you're going to be paying attention, especially if you're in the middle of a firefight or something. So yeah, that's stuff. Just, I don't know, it's weird. I don't really get it. As I said, it's not a very, to me it seems a bit of a casual shooter. I mean, I could be wrong, I haven't really played it that much, and it is only a beta, but that's just my thoughts, that's just my feelings on that. What else is there? Oh yes. So speaking of weapon damage and health and everything, the only thing that you can really use to see how much health you've got left is the health bar in the corner, which is fair enough because it does clearly state how much health you've got left. But when you play games like Call of Duty and stuff like that, if you get a hit, your screen starts turning red, and you know it instantly to get your ass to cover, or to, you know, not challenge a firefight or whatever. But in Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare, you do get sort of a red screen, but it's a very, like, it's not very noticeable. Again, because there's so much crap going on the screen at the time, it's very easy to not realise that you're low health, and the difference, you actually don't get a difference between slightly damaged and really damaged. Like, you could have 50% health and it would still be the same flashing screen as if you had 5% health, which again, not very informative. And I've died quite a few times because I didn't realise that my health was so low. But then there's also the fact that health and damage aren't always consistent. Because of the different characters' health levels, because of the different characters' weapon damages and attack damages, and again hit detection and lag, which is quite, well, to me it seems quite prevalent in this game. Again, I know it's a beta, but you know, it seems quite bad for even for a beta. And so it's not always easy to tell how much damage you're dealing to an enemy and how much damage you're taking. And sometimes it feels like, you know, I'll shoot an enemy for ages and they won't go down, or they'll go down eventually, but after a really long firefight. And sometimes I'll just get hit, like, even when I'm in like one of the tougher characters, or when I'm using one of the abilities which grants me, you know, a bit more health. Like for example, the imp can call in a Z mech, which has, you know, like 200-300 health. But you know, you stand in the open for a little bit, and for some reason you can get taken out straight away. And again, I don't know if that's because, you know, certain characters are using more damaging weapons, or because of something else that's going on. I don't know. But it's just like, it feels to me that this game is a little bit inconsistent. And to make matters worse, not only can you, when you're playing online modes such as, you know, whatever, there's always the option to call in like AI support. So if you're a plant, you can plant seeds into pots, and then they'll turn into plants, and then those plants can fight for you, and so on and so forth. And if you're a zombie, you can do the same with well, they're called bots, but I don't know how exactly they're formed, but I guess they get built or something. So yeah, but again, throwing all this in adds again more stuff to the screen. So much more crap going on, and I don't know if it works in all game modes. For objective-based game modes, I guess it kind of works, but then if you were playing like a TDM or something, I don't know if it's available in a TDM. That's true. I didn't actually play a TDM, so I can't really say. But even so, like in some of the game modes that I played, it just didn't seem to suit. So again, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I think it's not really aimed at me. So that's probably why I don't really like it. I mean, I don't mind playing against other players, and I don't mind playing against AI troops, but it's a bit odd playing against them at the same time, if you know what I'm saying. I'm just not used to that, possibly. Maybe that's just me. Moving on to... oh yeah. So speaking of killing and dying, time to kill, as I've already mentioned, is unreliable, and sometimes it's just absurd. I don't really understand. And it's annoying because sometimes you could be really accurate with your primary weapon but take ages to kill someone, but then at other times you'll use like one of your special powers, and then you'll just destroy an enemy across the map like really quickly, and it makes no sense. So I think there's a reliance on powers and the fact that they've got like auto aim or something, because I don't know, it's just weird. The fact that you can map someone with like a special power, even though it's not really something you'd even consider doing in a day-to-day fight. But then, you know, again, it just takes over and it just does it itself. So I'm not really mentioning a lot of good things about this game at the moment. And to make it even worse, I've got to go back to weapons again and say that when you're running low on ammo, like your clip's running out, you don't get any notification. So again, unless you're physically looking in the bottom right of the screen where it tells you your ammo count, it's, you know, there's no obvious way to know how many rounds you've got left. And also, when you're using weapons like the orange has a laser beam, for example, which is infinite ammo, but it can overheat, which obviously to balance it, you get no notification that that weapon is about to overheat. So you could be spamming it along, happy as anything, thinking, yeah, this is fine, and then your weapon just overheats and you get timed out. There should be some sort of notification, right? I mean, how else are you supposed to manage your power consumption or whatever it is? And speaking of powers like they're fun to use, but they're not always, like, they don't always work when you want them to work. Like, I know in one of my earlier videos I tried to throw some spud mines out over like a ledge sort of thing. You'd think that's possible because it's just a throwable object, but no, you can't throw it over a ledge apparently. You have to throw it right in front of you, even though the animation is the spud mine getting thrown right in front of you on the ground. It doesn't just appear on the ground, it actually physically goes onto the ground. So why can't it go over the edge of this ledge? I don't understand it. I really don't. And then there's certain powers, like lock-on powers, like healing, which again don't always lock on to characters even though you're standing right next to them. And then when you do lock onto them, let's say you've finished healing, you know, it's not always an easy thing to do to break away to heal another character. And if there's a group of characters all need healing, let's say one's got 5% health, one's got 50, one's got 75, you will obviously want to heal the person who's weakest, right? But you can't choose who to heal. You'll just hit the button and it'll latch itself onto whoever at random. And so you spend, you know, a good couple of seconds trying to break away from the person you're currently healing, trying to heal the person who's completely one shot. It's just, I don't know. The game has its moments, but very few. I find myself not caring about the scoreboard just because I know there's so many issues with not issues, I think issues is the wrong word. I think there's just there's so many things that make this game inconsistent that I know that I'm dying or I'm missing kills where I shouldn't be. So it's to the point where I'm like, I mean, I'm annoyed obviously that I'm not doing as well as I should be doing, but at the same time I know the game's quite casual. Well, at least to me I think it's quite casual, and I know that not all the mechanics work as they should. So it's sort of to the point where you're just playing for the sake of playing, but meh, I don't know, to me that just isn't that fun. I'm actually slightly disappointed with the game. As I said, I never played the first one, so I was quite excited to try this beta to see what it's all about, and I'm glad I tried it because to be quite honest, towards the end I only played it for a day. So I spent the first 2 days downloading it, and then on the third day I actually jumped on and I played it. Actually no, tell a lie. I played a little bit on the second day, and then I went to bed, and then the next day I played. And I was on the game, and I just wasn't having fun. And towards the end, I only played like a couple of hours worth. Just obviously, because you can't really just play one game and then make a decision. You have to play a good couple of hours before you can make a judgment on anything. And I played a good couple of hours, and I just couldn't play it anymore. It wasn't that it was really bad. It just wasn't for me. And I think possibly that's just the bottom line. The game's just not aimed at people like me, or at least for me, the game is just not that great. I think the concept behind it, actually, I think where this game would really shine is co-op. I never got to try it on co-op, but I think if I were to play the co-op side of that game, I think I would really enjoy it. It's just the multiplayer side of things just doesn't really appeal to me at all, and that's completely fine, because there are some games out there that I really love the co-op side of things of, but then the multiplayer is just so-so. A good example of this is Uncharted. I love the co-op side immensely, and I don't mind playing the multiplayer. In fact, I actually genuinely don't mind playing the multiplayer for Uncharted, so to compare Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare to Uncharted is probably unfair. But what I'm saying is I do love the co-op side more than I love the multiplayer side, but I can still stomach the multiplayer side. I have my moments and I sort of enjoy it. But for some reason, Garden Warfare 2, it just, I don't know. I can't see myself. Well, I wouldn't be buying it, that's for sure. So yeah, I guess this is like a ranting video. I don't want it to be a ranting video. I'm just disappointed with the game, or at least I'm disappointed that my expectations of this game are not what I thought it would be at all. And so yeah, those are my first impressions of the game. Just a long list of things that I think are not on point, which is yeah, as I said, disappointing. But possibly, like as I said, it's a game that it's just not for me, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not gonna like every single game ever made, and nor will you. So it's just one of them things. But it is a little bit disappointing, and yeah, I thought it would be better than it was. I mean, again, another thing that kind of bugged me was that there was no option to pick a certain game mode and just play that in the beta. And I know it's a beta, and then possibly in the final version you'll be able to pick what game mode you want to play, but you just jumped into the multiplayer portal and then it sort of put you in a game and you had no say in it. So yeah. Oh, something else which is a little bit annoying is that, well, obviously EA made the game, they published the game, so they brought back the packs, which yeah, well, we all know how we feel about that. And I don't know, but I'm fairly certain that different characters can have different variants, and I'm not sure if those variants are locked behind those packs or if you just need to grind to rank up. If you just need to grind to rank up, that's alright, but if they're locked behind those packs, then again I'd have a real issue with that. But yeah, let's try and pull some positives from this game. So the game art design is great, character design great, like I said, the range of weapons and special abilities, there's loads. So if you enjoy this game, then you have a lot to look forward to, because there's no way you're mastering all those characters, all those abilities within, say, I don't know, a week or so. You'll be playing this for months, I can guarantee, if you enjoy the game, obviously. What else is there? So some of the games that I played lasted up to half an hour, and I think that's the longest you can go, and that is excruciatingly long. I mean, I've played games, in Call of Duty that have lasted like 20 minutes, and I think that's quite long enough. But half an hour, damn, that is long. And the maps are quite big. I was quite surprised at how big some of the maps were. I suppose similar scope to Battlefield, so it's not. I mean, I played maps that size before, but it's just I didn't expect it in Garden Warfare. What else? I guess the audio is quite good for the different characters and weapons and abilities. Yeah, there definitely needs to be like call outs on the game though, because that's something else I didn't mention, is that let's say you're winning an objective or losing an objective, you don't get told anything until like it's happened. So you could be attacking it and then suddenly you'll start losing it, and you don't get any notification that you're losing the objective. But then once you've lost it, or once you've won it, you'll get like Crazy Dave or the Zomboss guy with a message on the screen saying something like, move on to the next checkpoint. But there's nothing like really obvious. Like in Call of Duty or Battlefield, you'll get like some sort of commanding role shouting at you saying, push on or fall back or turn up or something like that. But in this game, you don't get anything. You just get a bit of gibberish and a message on the screen which you don't really pay attention to. So yeah, again, lack of direction. And so I just, I personally, I was a bit surprised at how much I didn't enjoy it. Usually when a game, I mean, like the last beta I played was, I'm tempted to say Battlefront. And even though that game, well, a lot of people are saying was kind of basic, even I had fun in that game. I mean, Plants vs Zombies, God Warfare 2 has more content, there's no denying that. But I just couldn't play it. At least I didn't enjoy playing it after a while. So yeah, I don't really know what other positives to pull from the game, to be honest. That's about it. So yeah, I apologise. This video is very whingy and ranty and everything, but as I said, I just don't think the game's for me, and you know that's fine. Like as I said, I'm sure there's plenty of things that people don't enjoy that I enjoy, and vice versa. And there's, you know, that's different people, different likes. You know, that's just how it is. That's the way the world is. So anyway, thanks for watching. I know it's a very long video, but if you stayed to the end, then I do appreciate that. As you can probably guess, I won't be getting the game, so therefore I will not be uploading any more footage after this. I think, is this going to be the last video? Well, once I've uploaded this batch of videos, there won't be any more Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare videos. So yeah, I don't know when I'm going to upload this, but there are a few other things that are coming in the pipeline. A couple more betas, a couple of new releases coming out. So I'm looking forward to playing those and sharing those with you. So hopefully I'll catch you in some of those videos. And until then, or whenever we next meet, take care and thanks for watching.
Oh, Steam,